Hello everyone, my name is Nabila Najwa Dissa. So in this opportunity I would like to deliver my speech. It is about 19th century's author. So do you know Margaret Fuller? If you don't know her, I would like to explain about her biography. So here is my speech. Margaret Fuller's father had been disappointed when his first child was a girl. Still, when he was not away as a member of Congress or a Speaker of the Massachusetts House, he gave her the same education as any young man of their class might have received. At age 15, her daily schedule began at 5 in the morning and ended at 11 at night, and included reading literary and philosophical works in 4 languages, especially German, walking, singing, and playing the piano. The passages about Miranda in Woman in the 19th century reflect an idealist view of this upbringing, omitting the lifelong nightmares and headaches which may have been rooted in this imposing routine. When her family moved back to the Cambridge in the early 1830s, Fuller met most of the people central to the transcendentalism movement: Emerson, Thoreau, Johnson, Alcott, Channing, and among others. She was already on her way to what Thomas Carlyle called predetermination to eat this big universe as her oyster or her edge, and she made an instant impression on those around her. The death of her fathers in 1835 forced Fuller to take up school teaching to support herself and her family. After a brief stint in Alcott's progressive Temple School in Boston, she accepted a post in Providence, Rhode Island, moved there in 1837. But Fuller saw teaching as a means, not an end, and she keenly felt her isolation from the intellectual circles in Boston, to which she returned in December at 1838. There she flourished. In May 1839, she published her translation of Ackerman's Conversation with God in the last year of his life, and in January 1840, she began a 2-year period as editor to the Dial, the semi-official journal of the Transcendentalists. During this period, she supported herself by holding conversation for women on topics such as poetry, ethnic, Greek mythology, or the other subjects outlined in her letter to Sophia Ripley. And Fuller believed that women had been educated solely for display and not to think. She saw herself as a catalyst for the women in her group, and at her conversation she attempted to guide and draw out the participants to force them to realize and at the potential within themselves. Her conversation between 1839 and 1844 were so popular, even though among the most expensive in Boston, that she was finally constrained to admit men. The conversation anticipates the later organization of women's literary clubs and other efforts aimed at the self-development of women who remained largely excluded from advanced educational institutions. Between May and September 1843, Fuller and some friends toured the Midwest. Upon returning to Boston, Fuller set about writing up her account of the trip, and in June 1844 published it as Summer on the Lakes in 1843. And the value of her books does not lie is in its factual matter. Fuller had aimed at giving her poetic impression of the country at large. In her commentary, she sympathized with the plight of the Indians and their betrayal by the whites, worried about attempts to imitate Eastern standard of culture at the expense of losing what was unique to the West, and inserted many long passages of scenic description to convey her own sense of wonder at all natural beauty she had seen. And Summer on the Lake not only helped Fuller gain recognition as an author, it also brought her to the attention of Horace Greeley, who hired her as a literary critic and general essayist for his New York Tribune, and who offered to publish her next book. Fuller revised and expanded her essay The Great Lawsuit, Man vs. Man, Woman vs. Woman, from the July 1843 dial, and moved to the New York in December 1844 while still working on. And Woman in the 19th Century published in February, it is about 1845, is Fuller's best known work indeed. The only one of her works generally made available to students. She attacks the hypocrisy of men, of hypocrisy of that allow him to champion freedom for blacks while maintaining legislation to restrict the rights of women. Hypocrisy that Salman complained about women's psycho and emotional unsuitability for position of responsibility in public life, yet insists that she be fired and endorsed the one of race and socialized children. She applied to the woman question ideas about self-development she shared with Emerson, and adopted something of his hortatory style to her social purpose. What woman needs, she wrote, is not as a woman to act or rule, but as a nature to grow, as an intellect to discern, as a soul to live freely and unimpeded to unfold. Such power were given her when we left our common home. In August 1846, Fuller sailed for England as one of the first American foreign correspondents, male or female. She began with the expected literary tour of England, where the recently issued paper won her warm reception among British writers. She also met and was deeply influenced by social activists like the Italian patriot Mazzini, and literary figures concerned with sexual liberation like the poet Adam Mickiewicz, and the then notorious French woman novelist George Sand. By the summer, and contemporary criticism has begun to understand the tension in her life and work, the successes and failures of her prose as reflection of her original efforts to imagine the woman who shall vindicate the birthright for a woman. So everyone, let's end this talk I would like to apologize if I get some mistakes, and see you.